So it's funny. A lot of people know hormones in a general sense. Like I use the word hormone all the time, but on a biological level, I actually have no idea what a hormone actually is. So before
Mm.
we get into the questions, I think it would be useful for me and for the listeners to know when we talk about hormonal health, what is a hormone on a
Yeah.
scientific level? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think when people hear, well, first of all, thank you for having me on the
You're
podcast.
welcome. Yeah, no, I'm
I
excited.
am privileged and honored. I think people hear hormones and they're just thinking about sex hormones, right? So they're just thinking about their estrogen, their progesterone, their testosterone, but realistically, it's way more than that.
Yeah.
Your hormonal system is really the catalyst for a lot of pathways in your body. But you have neurohormones, the dopamine, serotonin, the list is endless. You have hormones that control your appetite with your leptin and your ghrelin that controls if you're full or if you're hungry. You have insulin, which regulates blood sugar, fat storage, fat burning controls. And I think the realistic way to like kind of break it down is hormones will attach to receptors and then cause these beautiful biological pathways in your body. Or it could be the opposite. They could not be getting, they could be inactive, or they could not be attaching to receptors, or they could not be broken down properly, which could cause all different kind of things. So weight gain, hormonal imbalances, liver and kidney issues, gut issues. They're so powerful that there's receptors on hormone receptors on all the cells in your body. So it's not just as simple as, oh, it controls one thing. It really, like, all of your organs are really controlled by hormones.
Wow. Okay. No, that's really good to know. And it's good to like picture that, like to keep that in mind that it's all connected and we do have a degree of control over how our hormones choose to express themselves. I don't know if I'm using that correctly. I've heard recently something called gene expression.
Yeah.
Can you say the same thing for hormones? Can you say hormone expression or is that not a thing?
Well, genes are, the DNA, the makeup of who you are, but they're either expressed or as a phenotype, or they're not expressed. So basically, what that means is just because you have a gene that was given to you by mom and dad, it doesn't mean that gene is going to be turned, kind of like a light switch. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
the light switch is going to be turned on. What kind of controls the light switch would be so many different things, environmental toxins, diet, medications, stress, products that you're using. I mean, the list literally goes on, stress being probably the dominant force that people are really neglecting in their life. But those things will turn a gene on, they will express the gene. So 90% of genes are expressed through environmental and external influences, where 10% are just actually okay. And that's kind of where you hear like, oh, what happened to this young child who developed cancer? Unfortunately, that 10% of that gene was just turned on.
Gotcha.
There wasn't anything typically that would have caused that. It's just, there is a 10%. But the release of hormones are absolutely affected by really the same thing. So it's not so much are they going to be turned on and they're going to be turned off, but they're going to be influenced, right? So like, for
Gotcha.
example, your stress will profoundly influence your thyroid hormone and the release of thyroid hormone because of how it's affecting your brain. And everything starts from the brain and trickles down hormonally. So everything happens in the brain, and then hormone signals will get triggered in the brain to then go be released and stimulate different organs.
Yeah.
But if that doesn't happen, usually it's because of stress, mostly stress, poor diet,
Yeah.
medication, stuff like that.
Right. Okay. No, that's good to know like how intertwined everything is. My next
Yeah.
question for you.